Hello, hello. Good morning. I am running around a little bit this morning. Man, we got a hot topic for you this morning, so I'm gonna get things going and chat a little bit while people join us, because this is a triggery one. This is a big one. It's a big conversation. I want as many of you to be here as you can. But anyway, I'm running around this morning, getting stuff done before I go to the office, because I'm heading out to Washington State today to speak to the Tri-Cities Regional Chamber of Commerce meeting to about 600 people. So excited. So really excited to go. Love to go somewhere I've never been. So I've never been there. If you're in Washington State or you're in that area, say hello. Or if you saw that the Tri-Cities were doing, their Chamber of Commerce was doing I think it's their women's event, to be honest. I'm not looking at the name right in front of me, but go. So join us. There's still time. Also, so I'm running around. I need to go do some errands, then want to go by and spend a few minutes with my son, because I'm leaving today for I leave fast now. I get in and I get out. So say good morning. Say good morning. I want to see your beautiful faces. But I had to run by the doctor for an appointment, get a prescription refill. Many of you know that I have SVT. If you don't know what SVT is, supraventricular tachycardia. If you have ever, for no reason at all, had your heart rate go from 70 to 220 and it's unexplainable, you may have SVT. It is only treatable in two ways. It's treatable with low dose metoprolol, which is what I take, or it's treated with an ablation, where they go in and they, it's basically, I have two carburetors in my heart, right? Two carburetors in my heart. And they go in with, an ablation is when they go in with a little tube and they burn the place. That doesn't always work. It has a pretty good success rate. So for me, being on a very low dose beta blocker, which is pretty, if you've got to take a medicine, it's one to take, because it's actually a very healthy medicine with no side effects, works for me. And so I don't have moments where my heart goes from 70 to 220. Unfortunately, physically, there's not anything else you can do. It doesn't change if you get healthy. It doesn't change if you weigh 20 pounds or you weigh 250 pounds. It doesn't change. So anyway, I went to go get my prescription refill, but it was a great reminder this morning. So before I get to topic, have you scheduled your mammogram? Because mine was 2 months off, and I knew it was sometime around this time, so I'm going to schedule it as soon as I'm back from the Bahamas. So have you scheduled your mammogram? And listen, I know everybody has different feelings and opinions about, I do a mammogram, you don't do a mammogram. So whatever your method of breast checkup is, when is the last time you did it? Are you scheduled for it? Remember, it's yearly after 40. So it's a good reminder for that. For those of you, I won't get into, again, vaccines and flu shots and all of that, but for those of you that have compromised immune systems, or you are older, or you are very young, or there's a situation that you would be in that could create a challenge, have you had your flu shot? So there are people that definitely should take the flu shot. Have you? So ask you that. And then finally, we know we are in flu season, and we know also there is the issue that is going on in Wuhan, China, and knock on wood, and prayers, and thoughts for that country and that those communities, but also that we do not see it happen over here, and what's happening here with it stays contained. But wash your hands, carry antibacterial soap with you everywhere. I am flying today, and I'm telling you, I am debating. I have a face mask, and I am debating it, and I don't even think it's so much about being paranoid about the coronavirus as it is about there's just so much flu, and I would like not to get sick and bring that back to my son. So anyway, be healthy, stay healthy. One of the best ways to be and stay healthy is to stay connected to your medical professionals and your holistic professionals and your chiropractors and your dentists and your doctors and all the people that take care of you, and make sure you do all the checkups you're supposed to do. Make sure you do all of the preventative things that you're supposed to do, and stay healthy, because it's important. We need you here and we want you here. So, all right, let's talk topic. Let me tell you something, guys. I am going to ask a favor of you on this Facebook Live this morning. I am glad you are here. Please tell me you're here. Say hello. Give me a wave. And then I'm going to ask you to do something, because I believe what I'm going to share on this morning's Facebook Live, I am on fire about it. I think it is one of the most important conversations that needs to be had with yourself, with your colleagues, with your clients, with your children, with your spouse, because it is a topic that is tap danced around, and and I think we've also recently had a lot of teachings that are against what I'm going to share, and I don't think it's serving us. I don't think it's helping us. I certainly don't think it's helping our children, and I do not think that it is helping us as a whole. So my question to you is, and I ask you very, very, very honestly, I want you to be vulnerable in this moment. So the first thing I want to say is, share this Facebook Live right now. Share it, because you need to have conversations about it. And I want people you know to see it, and say that when you share it. Say, if you're a friend of mine, if you're a client of mine, if you're a colleague of mine, I want you to watch this so we can then dialogue about it, right? We can have a conversation about it. Because what I want to ask you, and I want you to be really honest right now, and I want you to be very vulnerable, is I want you to tell me, do you offend easily? Now, I'm going to take the word easy out of that, because I think some people go, oh, well, I don't offend easily. Do you get offended? Do you get offended? Right? So answer that right now in the chat room. Share this so you can talk to your BFF about it. Talk to your ride or die about it. Talk to your coach about it. Talk to your clients about it. Talk to your children about it. Talk to your neighbors about it. Let people watch this so we can have a real dialogue about it. But it starts with me asking you the question, do you offend? Do you get offended? And I really want you to take an honest moment with yourself right now. And I want you to really ask yourself, am I being truthful in this moment in how I answer this? Now, let me talk about myself for just a second. Of course I get offended. Of course I do. It is rare. And it is something over the last, especially the last 10 years, it's probably one of the things that I have worked on the most of anything that, any other thing that I have worked on. So I have worked on it quite a bit. So it is rare that it happens. When it does happen, quite often it will catch me off guard, but I do get offended. I do. But I do manage it. And it is one of the things that I work the hardest at, because let me tell you what I heard this morning. I have taught on this to my private clients and to people when I've been in teaching groups. I have taught on this for years. Years and years and years and years and years. And so this actually, when I made my big list of content for this, I'm going to hang out here for a little bit because I really want to get deep into this. When I made my big list of all the content I wanted to do for these Facebook Lives 100 Days and More, this was on the list. And so I was going to get to it at some point. But one of my mentors, someone that I absolutely love, I saw something he said about this morning, and I said, oh my gosh, God, that is a sign. You have put this on my heart to make sure that I share it this morning. And that is that he said, T.D. Jakes said, you cannot stand before God. You cannot stand before God and be easily offended and be mighty. You cannot be easily offended and be mighty, because you cannot be mighty and petty at the same time. Holy Jesus, take that in. Oh my gosh. I mean, it blew me out of bed. I actually had CBS Morning Show on this morning, and it's actually something I don't even turn on that often, maybe once a week or something. And I was doing it while I was doing other things. And I was sitting in bed because I was packing, I was getting ready, and I went, whoa, stop everything. You cannot stand before God and be easily offended and be mighty, because you cannot be mighty and petty at the same time. And when you get offended, it is you being petty. It is you deciding that something is against you or someone is against you. When 50% of the time, probably somebody's telling you the truth. You know, I used to say something all the time to my clients. I haven't said it in forever. I used to say, not everybody is trying to offend you, and not everybody is against you. If a lot of people are saying a similar thing, somebody's telling you the truth. You've got something you may need to change. You've got something that's not working. You've got something that you probably need to be different. I mean, this is Lorena saying it, and I agree, Lorraine. It is genius. You cannot be mighty and petty at the same time. And guys, you're lying on this Facebook Live. You are lying sitting here if you're saying you don't get offended. I said I get offended. Something I've really worked on managing over the years. But my gosh, let me just say it. I'm going to say it probably 10 times over the next 15 or 20 minutes because it needs to be said. But you cannot stand before God and be easily offended and expect to be mighty, because you cannot be petty and mighty at the same time. And so I'm seeing a lot of you say, I get offended. I do get easily offended. And guys, first of all, I want to say thank you for being honest, because if we're not having these conversations and we're not having these dialogues and honesty, then what the hell is my point of being here? What's the hell in you having an opinion and us sharing it and us dialoguing around this? So what do we do, and who do we become, and what do we need to do in a different way? And especially those of you that have children and teenagers and young adults, I want you to take this in, and I want you to take it to the dinner table tonight. And I want you to have a conversation around it. So why are we so easily offended, right? Why are we so easily offended? And why are we a nation that's so easily offended? We are offended by complicated, difficult world. And I am trying to figure out, right, wandering through this complicated, difficult world and going, where are the truths, right? Where are the truths, and what are the truths? And how can I pull truth from everywhere I am to apply it to myself to better myself? And sometimes that is hard, y'all. It's like putting on a coat made of nails. It's like putting on a coat made of nails, because sometimes I just don't want to get better. Sometimes I don't want to evolve. I want to be good enough where I am right now. And so I get how difficult that can be. But I also want you to get the fact, and I want you to understand that when you are offended, when you get easily offended and you become easily offended, what happens is that you give all your power away. You give every bit of your power away. Whether the person that has offended you is just mean, or they're actually trying to tell you the truth, they are trying to lift you up, they are trying to support you, they are telling you something that may be hard to hear, but that if you could apply and you could take in, it could better your life, right? And the truth of the matter is that you give all your power away. So that's why you can't stand before God and be easily offended and then expect to be powerful, expect to have your voice heard, expect for your voice to matter, expect for you to make good decisions, because people don't make good decisions where they're in an offended state, because everything you do is emotional. What you react to is emotional. So I want to go to what some of you are saying, right? So I see Gladys saying, I get offended, but I don't stay offended as long as I used to. I've learned to focus on being, not being a blaming person. I focus on why I allowed the trigger. So Gladys, my question to you would be, how do you shift that up, and how do you don't even get to the offense? How do you not let it even trigger you into an offended state, right? Because if somebody's saying something, you're just using your filter to go, what if this is a value? What if this is a value? Everything said in the world must have some kernel of value. What if this is a value? And if you can take some of it that's a value, you take it. And if you realize that the value here is to learn not to behave in that way or to act the way, and also they're right, the blame is so high so often that it's really, really, really challenging, right? When you are coming from a place of deep, deep blame. Alexis, when I do, I try to sit with it and later and see why, what's going on. Are they right? Am I wrong? Is there truth? And I think that's really valuable, Alexis. The challenge is, how much time do we waste? How much energy do we expend? How much, what levels of difficulty do we create for ourselves having to spend all that time processing being offended? So the truth is, we are our most mighty, we are our most powerful, we are our most progressive, we are our most truthful, we are our most stable when the offense never occurs. Right? When the offense never occurs. And I'll share with you what one of my very first coaches, I want to hear what you got to say about this, guys. I want to hear how you think you can begin today to start in the world not even having to process the offense, but you're just not offended. Now, one of my very first coaches, phenomenal coach, he said, the offense is always within. Damn, that's good, guys. You combine what T.D. Jakes said, that you cannot stand before God and be easily offended and expect to be mighty, because you cannot be mighty and petty at the same time. And then you combine that with this idea that the offense is always within. When I am offended, I'm aware it may be truth. When I am offended, now there is a difference between hurt and being offended. Now I think people that are hurt all the time, that's a whole other problem, right? But sometimes you can be hurt. Sometimes you can, I'm visiting for my son right now, and they had the sweetest little heart that was crumpled up, and it said, think before you speak, think about what you want to say. A crumpled heart is hard to smooth out. And so we can hurt. We can be hurt and we can hurt. And that is one thing. But I'm talking about the offended. I'm talking about politically offended and emotionally offended and offending my values and offending who I am. And, I coach thousands of people, and I have a lot of coaches. And I have coaches all the time that are going, Susie, or therapists. I remember I was in a therapy session about a year ago because I did this whole really fascinating CEO day at Duke University, where they give you every medical and physical test in the world, and they also give you emotional test, and you go through emotional testing. And one of the things she said to me was a little bit challenging to hear, because in my reactionary state, because I can be a reactionary person, I can get anxiety from something, like I'm really stressed out, and then I turn that into being reactionary. And I was like, oh my gosh, I manage stress so well, and I don't even know what she's saying. And, she doesn't know. She's a therapist that probably has 12 clients. And I was like, yeah, that looked like offensiveness. That looked like being offended, which means, fuck, you need to look at that, Suzanne. You need to look at, when you are stressed or you're in an anxiety mode, how you respond to things. And the moment you're offended, it's truth. Holy hell, there you go. The moment you are offended, it is truth. So instead of being offended, become aware. Because if you feel the offense come in, don't sit and be offended for a day and a half and need to process it, right? You pause and you go, oh, then that's a lesson. It's a beautiful Quaker concept that says the truth is constantly revealing itself. The truth is constantly revealing itself. So guys, if you're offended, the truth is constantly revealing itself. don't be offended, be aware, and turn that awareness into evolution, which allows for you to grow. It allows for you to become better, healthier, more engaged, more kind, more loving. So don't sit around and be offended. Be inspired. Because if you are sitting in a place of being offended, you are sitting in a place of petty. And petty people are not powerful. Petty people are not changing the world. Petty people can't lead other people anywhere, right? Lorraine, the truth is constantly revealing itself, right? That is, the truth is constantly revealing itself, consistently and constantly revealing itself. So guys, let this lay on your heart this morning. Goodness, golly goodness, this was so good. When I heard those words, so I just want to recap these words for you because I want you to walk out of this moment today and I want you to go, I am no longer offended. I do not become offended. I am not offendable because I am either in truth, because if I'm feeling the offense, it means it's something I need to deal with, or I am hearing something and I am able to feel nothing because it is not relative to me, or I'm hurt. I'm hurt. Something is happening here that is hurting me. And hurt you deal with different than offensiveness, right? So you cannot stand before God and be easily offended because you cannot be mighty and petty at the same time. If you are being offended, the offense is within. The offense is within. So what is it in you, right? What is it in you that you need to get from that, learn from that, do from that, move from that? And it's okay to be hurt. People hurt people. I hurt people. You hurt people. It certainly is something none of us ever want to do, I believe, but we are human and we make mistakes. And so when you are hurt, you deal with the hurt. Right? Deal with the hurt. Figure out and be able to discern what is happening. And Lorraine is saying it and shouting it, and let what Lorraine is saying be our pledge as we leave here. I am no longer offendable. I am enlightened. I am no longer offendable. I am enlightened. I am no longer offendable. I am enlightened. Go be enlightened. Hugs and hell yes. Many, 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 many blessings. I'm not sure if I will be live at 10 a.m. tomorrow. A team member might be because I am speaking, but we might even try to capture me speaking live in Washington State. If not, I will either see you tomorrow morning or I will be back and see you the next morning. Thank you. I love you. I am no longer offendable. I am enlightened. Goodbye. Have a wonderful day.